Across England, local authorities are working with their communities to put a local plan in place. Local plans are at the heart of positive local planning and will involve extensive engagement with local communities. It is up to the local authority to produce the plan, but in collaboration with local communities, developers, landowners, and other interested groups or organisations. The plan has to be realistic, deliverable, and it must be supported by a robust evidence base. The introduction of the Localism Act gave councils more discretion over local plans. Whilst the planning inspector may provide comments and suggested modifications during the examination, it is not for the inspector to impose the plan on the council. The council always has the final say. But with the challenges placed upon local authorities, and the careful balance they must achieve between respecting local opinions and meeting national policy, the role of the Planning Inspectorate and its inspectors is sometimes challenged. Communities and authorities have at times been critical of the Planning Inspectorate's involvement in assessing local plans, particularly on the question of how local views are reflected in the plan. So do inspectors seek to ensure localism is reflected in the local plan prepared by the local authority?
Well, inspectors are very aware of the importance of localism, and I think it's reasonable for them to treat the local plan as a reflection of what the local authority believes is best for their particular locality. We also have to remember that when they prepare the local plan, local authorities have to consult with the local community right from the start of the process. So by the time we get to it at the end of the process, it's been through a lot of public consultation. So yes, I think it's reasonable for inspectors to treat the local plan as in the first instance a reflection of localism.
Inspectors are well aware that councils have done a great deal of work before submitting the plan by engaging and working jointly with local communities and stakeholders who have an interest in the area. So for that reason, inspectors will not interfere with the plan or seek to make changes to it unless there are very good reasons to do so.
Hastings Borough Council has recently undergone an examination process for an element of its local plan, which plays a vital role in supporting the council's overall planning strategy.
I think our development management plan sets out to achieve kind of two things really, I suppose. One is in a borough like Hastings, obviously we're very dependent on tourism and the kind of look of the place and the atmosphere of the place. You want to preserve as much as you can, certainly in terms of the natural environment, but also the built environment as well. So, I don't think there's ever a question about kind of flattening it all and putting office blocks up. I mean, it's, that wouldn't help at all. So while trying to preserve that, but on the other hand, it's a town that needs economic regeneration. So we need to balance that need for new development, bringing in new office accommodation, new employment spaces, and of course new housing, always needed, but balancing that against preserving as much as possible. I think the inspector really did kind of look at the idea of localism, the way he listened to people in the examination, and also his main modifications as well, where he has taken some sites out, which kind of surprised us actually, considering the government pressure on the need to incorporate more sites, more economic development, more housing. The way he's kind of listened to what local people have said is, I suppose, that's genuine localism really.
Over 180 miles away at South Somerset District Council in Yeovil, their local plan was recently found sound by the inspector and will now provide the framework for local development.
The local plan, or the South Somerset local plan, sets out to make sure that we have sufficient housing for our people, to make sure that the economy remains buoyant, and indeed allows for appropriate growth in both employment and housing. South Somerset's always had a good provenance in terms of community engagement. We felt it was very important to get, if you like, on-the-ground engagement from the word go. The inspector's input, first of all, he guided people through the actual inquiry process and told them at the beginning of the meeting why he was there, what he was going to do. I felt people went away from there, who, whatever viewpoint they had, saying that they'd be able to voice their concerns, and that was great. Whether or not he actually agreed with them at the end of the day was not the point. The point is they had the opportunity.
Adopted local plans provide the framework for development across England. Planning inspectors across the country are working with local authorities to give greater clarity of what is expected of them. Planning inspectors are ensuring government policy on sustainable development, housing supply and protecting valuable open spaces is effectively implemented. With 20% of local authorities still to publish a local plan, and many more in the process of updating already existing plans, the Planning Inspectorate is playing a vital role in supporting local councils develop local plans that fully meet their and their communities' needs.